never write, Ronnie? Oh, it's not like this. Letterhead.
Well, it's a good way.
Gotta get better.
It's gotta get better.
Even gets like he's in a hurry and he gets.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, it seems slower than when I was here the first time, but I'm certain that's not true. You and Ricky need to commiserate. You really need to. It's very difficult to live with. She's trying to leave her charge. It has to bubble up some places. I don't know what your experience is. It might be a good idea.
Cross-fertilization might help. I have some chairs.
I got a nice text about Mark Delphi. I got a nice text about Mark Delphi.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. What did he say?
How are you? Welcome. Welcome. This is a little
Apple ID.
and if they forward it this
Go Tigers. LSU.
don't do a press release. Just know that you're getting for all you tell her about it. Fully funded, not fully stably funded, but that's coming. All right.
Yeah, where was it? Where it got hit? Okay. Is that, and it just got loose?
Really? Okay. I know some of them are.
Chairman,
You took out the.
We gotta go.
I'll look down there. I guess I'll move my bag.
Maybe, yeah.
Or LSU. What do you mean?
Thanks.
All the board members, please
Start the
come
show.
and, take their seats. You Kane, stragglers still in the audience. We are very sorry for being one of those. The regular board meeting Friday, June 29th will come to order. Ms. Tomlinson, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Perry, before we do that, I think as a formal matter, we need to come out of executive session in the Healthcare Committee, and then, yeah, we'll do that.
The Healthcare Committee has concluded its executive session. Is there a motion to conclude?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I also need a motion to adjourn the committee. Motion to motion?
Second.
Okay. Without objection, we are adjourned.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Perry.
It's yours.
You're stationary.
I think it's yours.
So now we're back, now we're going into regular session, and Ms. Thompson will call the roll.
Mr. Perry?
Here.
Mr. Williams?
Here.
Mr. Yarborough?
Here.
Mr. Anderson?
Here.
Mr. Armentor?
Here.
Mr. Blossman?
Here.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Chatelain?
Here.
Mr. Dampf?
Here.
Ms. Jones?
Here.
Mr. Mallett?
Here.
Mr. Moore?
Here.
Mr. Starnes?
Here.
Ms. Werner?
Here.
Mr. Williams? Mr. Woods? Chair, you have quorum.
Thank you very much, Ms. conference. Chancellor Russell?
Thank you, Chairman Perry.
Yes, for us today.
Yes, and thank you to the rest of the Board of Supervisors for having us today and for having these three special guests from LSUE, two of our baseball players from the national championship team, and our head baseball coach and athletic director. Hayden Mixon, would you please come forward to provide the invocation, followed by Zach Hester, who will lead us in the pledge. Hayden?
Everybody please stand and bow your heads. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us all here safely today to get done what we need to get done and move in the right direction. Continue to bless us and all of our families and keep us in good health, and we pray for those who are not in good health that you heal them. Allow us to do your will in everything that we do and to keep your name first in everything that we do. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Hayden Mixon, let me tell you a little bit about Hayden.
We'll show this clip right after they speak.
Okay, perfect. Sounds great. Hayden is from Baton Rouge and is a graduate of Catholic High School. He recently earned his associate degree, Associate of Science, Louisiana Transfer in Biological Sciences. Hayden hit a grand slam home run in Game 2 of the World Series against Northern Oklahoma Enid to give the Bengals the lead in that game and to keep them alive in the national tournament. Hayden?
Like she said, I'm Hayden Mixon. I'm here from Baton Rouge. I spent 3 years at LSU Eunice playing baseball and in the science program over there. I played as a freshman, and then the last week of the season, I had an elbow surgery, so I had to sit out my whole second year. And at first, I had to come back for a third year. I wasn't too excited about it, but it turned out to be the best decision I've ever made. And behind actually going to LSU Eunice, I grew up more than I ever did over there playing for Coach Jeff Willis. And I really learned a lot of my leadership skills over there. I turned into a better person, and I know that I'm going to be, it put me in the right direction for what my career would be one day, and for raising a family and other things like that. I really enjoyed the program for baseball over there. We had an incredible program with lots of incredible coaches and an outstanding legacy that was put in from the guys that came in before me, and I was ecstatic to be able to continue that. So I was an infielder over there, and I pitched a little bit on and off, but mainly just an infielder. And we went out with the best way possible with the national championship. So that was the high point of my career over there, which says a lot because there was a lot of outstanding things that happened in my time over there that I'm extremely proud of. But most importantly, I'm just proud to be a LSUE Bengal. So
Where are you headed now?
I'll be at LSU, so I'll be continuing my education here, and I'm done playing baseball. So went out on a high note at LSUE. So
That's a good way to end it.
Yeah, it sure was. Thank you.
Good job.
Zach Hester is from Vidor, Texas. He attended LSUE for 2 years before earning his associate's degree in general studies. He graduated in May with a perfect 4.0. He's a right-handed pitcher, played 2 seasons with the Bengals, and will be playing for Samford University this fall. He's a team captain and earned first-team NJCAA All-American as well as academic All-American, and this year was named Pitcher of the Year for NJCAA.
That's awesome.
Zach?
Yeah.
Like Dr. Russell said, I'm Zach Hester. I'm from Vidor, Texas, and I chose LSU to continue my baseball career, and it's the best decision I made to go over there and play baseball. Playing for a coach like Coach Willis, it helped turn me into the man I am today and taught me a lot of leadership skills and bettered my leadership skills where I can move on and take them where I go next in my career. And over there, it's just the relationships we build on the baseball team is unreal. I've made memories and friends that I'll have forever. And I can't thank Coach Willis enough for making it that way.
And you're headed, tell them where.
I'm going to Sanford University in Birmingham to play baseball.
Awesome. That is awesome. And do the setup on this. What was it, bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, full count?
Bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, and 0-2 on our hitter.
And the score was?
It was 3-3 at the time.
3-3 at the time. Go ahead and hit that clip.
0-2.
Here's a stretch. And the pitch. That's hit deep in the left field. That's way back there. Still going back. Good! The Bengals are the national champions. A walk-off 2-run home run by Fuller. His 3rd home run of the tournament. And there they go, waiting for him at home plate. Ball game! Bengals are the national champions. How do you like that? A walk-off 2-run home run. My goodness, even Willis is getting in the pie. What a way to end it. Bengals win it 5-3. My. Slate Fuller the hero.
It's no fun being in college, is it?
I would also like to introduce Jeff Willis. He's our head baseball coach and also serves as our athletic director. You know, many times at our smaller regional campuses, our folks serve with many different hats, and so he has served us well in both of those. So, Jeff, if you would, just give us a few words.
Pleasure to be in front of you guys today. Very exciting times. Welcome new board members. Very excited to be here with these 2 young men and what 2 fine young men they are. And I've always said it's a goal of ours. You know, we want to win, we want to succeed on the field, but it's more important that we develop people. We develop people as those 2 individuals will be outstanding husbands and will be outstanding fathers. And 2 quick stories about them. You know, Zach got all those accolades, National Pitcher of the Year, and did all of that, and you really had, you know, nerves of steel and all of that. And I think the most pressure he was ever put under this entire year was when he had to get up here and lead the pledge. And so we were giving him a hard time back there. Don't forget the pledge and all that. And so yeah, he was a little bit uptight. So funny story about him, and just a leader, hardest working guy on the field, off the field, in the classroom, in the weight room. And it's very, very important when you see young people that deserve to have that happen and deserve to get those accolades. Very selfless individual as well. And if you look at Hayden, very selfless individual as well. And, you know, I know both these young men back here. I have 2 daughters. I have an 11-year-old and 8-year-old. And if my daughters were their age, I would want them to meet young people like that, to possibly be their husbands and fathers of their children at one point in time. Hayden had a great year for us. And the selfless attitude that he had, though, he started out the year and he was a starter for us. And then it kind of went through rocky times, and he wasn't playing as well as he would have liked. And he had to sit over there next to me on that bench for quite some time. And I'll tell you what, he continued to work while I waited. And that's an individual who was a 3rd-year player in our program. That doesn't happen very often. And he continued to support his teammates. He continued to push those. And when you're working while you're waiting, and you have a selfless attitude, when you put those others before you, and your identity is not tied into who you are as is not tied into what your job title is, or what kind of money is in your pocket, or all those other things that are going to pass away at some point in time. Your identity's tied in to being the best person that you can and helping the people that are around you as much as you possibly can. Good things are going to happen. It seems to work out that way. And sure enough, he got his opportunity and hit a couple of home runs, and I was in the lineup, and the next thing you know, he had a bad game and had struck out 4 times, and then he was out of the lineup for a week or so, and then he was put back in, and he performed very, very well and hit that big grand slam that continued us on our march to winning that national championship. But it's important that it wasn't easy. And anything that's worth anything in life is not easy, like you all know, that are highly, highly successful in this room. And those 2 individuals are ambassadors for our campus at LSU Eunice, and they're ambassadors for the LSU brand. And we're proud to have them here before you all, and we're proud of what we've been able to accomplish with those young people over there and what they've done for all of us in this room. So thank you guys for having us today, and very exciting times, and finish your board meeting and have a great day. So,
congratulations.
All right, the next item is the approval of the minutes of the board meeting held on May 4th, 2018, which have been previously provided to you. Do any of you have any questions regarding Mr. Yarborough?
I have a motion to approve.
Second. Motion to approve, second by Mr. Anderson. Is there any objection to the adoption of the motion? Hearing no objection, the motion is adopted. We'll now move to personnel actions requiring board approval. Item number 4, the board has in front of each of you a set of personnel actions. Do you have any questions to ask of the president or others regarding those personnel actions? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Mr. Chatelain moves to approve. Mr. Mallett seconds. Is there any objection to the adoption of the motion? Hearing no objection, the motion is adopted. We'll now move to the advisors' reports to the faculty. John, are you here? Hey. LSU Health Shreveport, it's a theme today.
Well, it might be one of them, yes. So for those I haven't met, I'm John Vencheri. I'm a pediatric infectious disease specialist on the faculty at the medical school in Shreveport, and I represent the Council of Faculty Advisors. This is a group of elected faculty members from each of the LSU campuses, and one member from each campus, and we meet each time that the Board of Supervisors meets. We meet in session to discuss particularly faculty issues. Our focus is on faculty governance, faculty leadership development, and also the items that pertain to faculty like promotion and tenure and benefits, as were highlighted earlier, where we greatly lag behind our peer institutions with respect to benefits. So my first words will be to welcome the new members and invite you to please take the opportunity to meet with us as a Council of Faculty Advisors. Your predecessors, Mr. Armenter, Mr. Williams, and Ms. Jones have met with us, and we believe that the dialogue that we can provide for you is really critical to your understanding of the work of faculty throughout the campuses of LSU. Second is I will just highlight briefly the poor status of our faculty benefits compared to what's available out in the private sector and even within campuses, the great discrepancies, and also compared to our peer institutions. As was highlighted before, our current retirement is less than that which would be provided by Social Security, and as faculty, this is not the way to attract or keep faculty. It's absolutely critical because for young faculty at the beginning of their career, that difference in a retirement package results in hundreds of thousands of dollars in the long term. And we can do better as an institution for our faculty. With respect to the legislative session, we will not comment much, but say we agree with the board that we have won some battles, but that war for excellence is a long and hard one. And the faculty, by virtue of our positions and what we do on a daily basis, are committed to the institution to continue that struggle for excellence. We are handicapped as a state. And as a pediatrician, I'll tell you, yesterday the Annie Casey Foundation ranked us 49th, once again, in child welfare. And that is not a great position to be in. We have some of the worst social ills in our state of any in the nation. And our pediatric gun-related deaths are the highest in the country behind District of Columbia. There are a lot of things that challenge our students even before they get to LSU. And so as faculty and a board, we're available and want, from the depths of our heart, to work with you, not just for the better of the institution, but of our state as a whole. So thank you.
Thank you very much. You great pediatricians are a different breed of cat. We thank you for all that you do. It is not an easy practice of medicine. Thank you so much, John. Dr. Alexander, President's Report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for their work on this long, grueling budget issue that we were able to stabilize our funding. We can do better, and our governor wants to do better, and so this coming year we anticipate a lot prettier picture than going into the budget with deficits that are still hanging over our heads. But I appreciate the work, appreciate Chairman Perry and his work behind the scenes, both with R's and D's. many of our board members, our chancellors, and a lot of our faculty. Stuart, I appreciate, we'll show a little bit. If you take a look at the screen right here, this is the student rally that occurred that was very successful on the Capitol. Was that in the second or third session, Stuart? Third session? Second day of the third session. And they quite ingeniously, all the students wore university shirts from other states. And so they said that's where they would be without tops, and that's where their siblings are going if you keep doing this and cutting higher ed and tops. So as the governor and I were standing there looking over a crowd that had Alabama shirts, Auburn shirts, Texas A&M shirts, there wasn't one Louisiana college or university represented in that crowd, but every one of those students are student government leaders from around the state. And I think it was about as effective. The press picked up on it and covered it on all 3 channels, and it was outstanding. And Stuart, your calls made a difference. Student government called these guys that said no on the second session and called them again and again and again and again, and we knew they were having an impact because they said, you need to tell your students to quit calling. That means it was working. It was working. So Stuart, congratulations with your team. Do you want to comment on it?
Yeah. I just think it's something worth mentioning, especially during the summer when there are so many people at the beach or in Europe. We were able to get about 200 students out there, again, from all across the state. So we were really proud of our students. And I think it really matters, and we have to put the pressure on the legislature. So don't let anyone say that students aren't involved or engaged. They are, and we're here. So we'll do it again if we have to.
That's great. That's awesome, Stuart. Enrollment prospectus for the upcoming fall. We're looking at record-setting enrollments, 20% up freshmen at Eunice, 4% up at Shreveport, and about 4% up at Alexandria. These are all record-setting enrollments. The main campus is looking at our largest enrollment in history. So we could punch through 50,000 students as part of LSU this coming fall. And it'll be our largest freshman class, and we encourage all board members to come on in on move-in day and help us sweat with the athletes and everybody else, and help the freshmen move in August. It's a fun day, and we feed everybody, and it's just a delightful day, and you meet a lot of students from all over the country. At the federal level, we've taken a couple stands. The Prosper Act out of the House is something that we've written about, we've met with our delegation about, and they voted against it, which is good because it's not a very good act. It wasn't constructed well, and it was done with very little input. The College Transparency Act that's coming up is something that Senator Cassidy has endorsed, along with Orrin Hatch and Elizabeth Warren. Think about that trio. That's pretty important act that we are supporting, and it's about college transparency and being able to track students where they go, so we know where our students are coming from, where they go when they leave, perhaps how to get them when they go to another institution, they want to come back. Update on Big Charity. Dan, you may be closest to this. Do we have an update on the Big Charity project in New Orleans?
We're still getting some questions from the final proposers on the RFP. So we're hoping to have things finalized within the next few weeks.
For those that know the Big Charity building, this is a transformative issue in New Orleans, and if we can get this project done and accomplished, it's going to help our med school. It's going to help the city. It's really truly a win-win for everybody. Our Greek implementation committee has wrapped up its work, and what you see on your screen is what we call a new scorecard. And this scorecard is going to tell parents and students whether the fraternity or sorority has been in trouble, what they've been in trouble for, how long has it been since they've been in trouble, are they above the minimum grade point averages. It's a scorecard that our Greek system hasn't readily endorsed, but they have endorsed this, and they will be working to provide this to all new parents and all students that are looking to pledge in our Greek system. This scorecard has also been adopted by the American Public Land Grant University Association. The scorecard looks very similar to the scorecard that is being posted at Penn State, who is going to house a best practices for Greek life group on their campus. And both Penn State and Florida State and LSU have been working and truly have become a model for many of the best practices that universities throughout the country want to adopt. And what we've said is that these best practices don't go through what we've had to go through to get to this point, and take advantage of the best practices before something tragic happens on your campus like we did. And I appreciate the work that everybody put into this. This is just one of many, many new rules and regulations and expectations that we have on our Greek system. And particularly, this is particularly of relevance because there are now 4 new laws on the books that make hazing a felony, including a bystander felony for those that do not take action, call the emergency room, and they choose to ignore something that happened right in front of them, and they don't do anything about it. So we'll be educating our Greeks, we'll be educating our pledges, we'll have a very important educational session in August for anybody wanting to pledge, and the amount of interest on this issue I underestimated it. There are universities all over the United States that are calling us to adopt what we've adopted long before they have an incident like happened at Murray State about 2 weeks ago, where a student went to a fraternity party and died. And they're still investigating it, but the whole Greek system has been suspended like ours was for so many months. On a much happier note, about 2 weeks ago, in Livingston Parish, our LIGO facility was named a historic physics site in the Register of Historic Places by the American Physical Society. And Stacy Haney, our provost, attended this wonderful event with NSF and Nobel Prize winners from around the United States. And the plaque has been posted that reads, on September 14th, 2015, LIGO interferometers at Livingston, Louisiana and Hanford, Washington made the first direct observation of gravitational waves. The precision required to detect these tiny disturbances in space-time caused by merging black holes was made possible by the coordinating labor of over 1,000 scientific and technical workers. This and a companion plaque at the other LIGO site in Hanford, Washington, recognize their contributions to this historical detection. This is the only historical physics site that's been named this century. It's the first one to be named, and just to let you know what some of the others are, Benjamin Franklin's house and Albert Einstein's house, and our LIGO facility in Livingston Parish. Quite an accomplishment, and this is our first piece of a Nobel Prize. And we've got a replica of this plaque for all of our board members to take home with you. It shows what our faculty, staff, and our 2 grad students that were in there at 4:23 in the morning can discover when we're working on important discoveries through research, through the teaching that we do and the service that we do. You're looking on your screen at the actual gravitational wave discovery. On your plaque, you'll see the left measurement is ours. That's the first one discovered, and the right measurement is Hanford, Washington. But this was the number one scientific discovery for the year 2017 once it was verified. So we appreciate the work, but more importantly, the recognition.
Dr. Golly and Dr. Oye instantly recognized that this was virtually an exact replica of the President's EKG during the fee resolution discussion.
We were worried about that.
A little bit. It got a little erratic there for a minute, but it's calmed down now.
Larry asked me if we had an AED in the house.
I was creating my own gravitational waves here. Just a reminder, our efforts on Title IX are going forward, and we encourage our campuses to be particularly cognizant of reports, and anything that gets to you, make sure that you get to Jenny Stewart, on our Title IX coordinator. This can really damage an institution. Michigan State settled for $500 million settlement because of this issue, because of one person, and they're having to bond this out at the state level because of one person, and they didn't tackle this issue early enough and when they should have. I'd like to congratulate Gracia Vicente, one of our professors, the program director for LSU's Initiative for Maximum Student Development, which has provided research training, academic development, and mentoring opportunities primarily to underrepresented students in the STEM area. Also, the LSU Office of Strategic Initiatives, who's mentored over 500 undergraduate students. 60% are underrepresented in STEM, 137 are PhD students, and 84 of those 137 are actually underrepresented population of students. The congratulations comes because President Trump named Professor Vicente and the LSU Office of Strategic Initiatives as recipients of the Presidential Award for Excellence in Science, Mathematics, and Engineering Mentoring. Only 27 people and 14 organizations nationwide received this award, and they received it in Washington, D.C. at the White House just recently. And finally, for our new board members, I need to let you know that we're in the legal drug business. Our medical marijuana, Bill, do you want to show your video and just let you know that the state, even though Bill and I weren't too happy about it, handed us the medical marijuana mission because I think we were probably one of the few operations or enterprises that the state felt that they could trust in getting it done the right way. Bill?
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. 2 years ago at this June meeting, we came to you with a resolution to officially enter into the medical marijuana business as was described by the state legislature. I've been giving you periodic reports from time to time. Today we're going to bring you up to speed. We are making a lot of progress recently in terms of the facilities and the growing facilities. I want to introduce two people to you who do the work on this. I don't, they do. Hampton Grunwald, who is our governmental affairs person, took this job on from day one and has shepherded it through the whole process. And then a year ago, we hired to help him out Ashley Mullins, a PhD in our operation. They were doing a phenomenal job. I'm asking Hampton to come up first and let you know what's going on with the legislation, and Ashley come up and show the video and tell you what we're doing. And you can see the plants now. You're in the weed business, so we'll show you what we got.
Thank you, members. Hampton Grunwald. I also want to introduce Dr. Ted Gaucher, who has been working on this for some time with us as well, developing the process by which we selected our partner. For those of you that are new members, in 2015, Senator Fred Mill introduced a bill legalizing therapeutic use of cannabis in medical patients, as long as those patients met certain qualifying disease states. We went through a process, as Dr. Richardson said. The board authorized us to proceed. We selected GB Sciences Louisiana to move forward with as our partner, and Ashley's going to tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. In the past legislative session, there were 4 items that were fairly significant to this project. The first one was legislation by Representative James that expanded the definition of debilitating medical conditions to include glaucoma, Parkinson's, severe muscle spasms, intractable pain, and PTSD. We believe that will expand the number of qualifying patients in the state. We're working right now to try to figure out what exactly that number might be, but we know it will be up from what the original was. Additionally, it allowed certain patients with autism spectrum disorder with certain qualifying conditions, and then extended the sunset from 2020 to 2025. The initial bill had a very short sunset date. I think the legislature wanted to see how far this would go and try to keep a tight grip on it. And they've now expanded that an extra 5 years, which allows us some time to now get the project up and going and help assist some patients. Additionally, Senator Thompson introduced a bill that excludes a lot of the records of this with regard to procedures and security protocols, excludes those from the public records. So we're moving forward from there. The big thing that made us really comfortable with this project was the ability for us to conduct research, and we are very happy to tell you now that the LSU Ag Center is currently conducting research on therapeutic cannabis. And we'd like to show you a brief video about our initial project and where we're heading.
And they brought samples for everybody.
The LSU Ag Center is conducting research on cannabis to understand the plant and explore its many potential uses in medicine. The Louisiana legislature authorized the LSU Ag Center to conduct research as a licensed production facility. Our initial focus of research on the plant is to develop tissue culture and cryopreservation procedures to ensure consistent plant genetics and survivability. The Ag Center's expertise in plant sciences will allow for science-based technology to be applied to the production of the plants for therapeutic products. Use of tissue cultures for propagation minimizes the genetic drift of plants, ensuring safe and consistent products for the patients in Louisiana. Our partner, GB Sciences Louisiana, is currently constructing a more than 5,000 square foot state-of-the-art research facility to allow additional research on variety development, extraction techniques, identification and testing of compounds, development of delivery methods, and efficacy testing. The uniqueness of this initiative will allow the Ag Center to be on the cutting edge of this research, leading to intellectual property potential in agriculture and medicine. As research progresses, additional opportunities exist for collaboration between Pennington Biomedical Research Center and the Health Sciences Centers in New Orleans and Shreveport.
We'd be happy to answer any questions, but before that, I'd like to introduce Ashley Mullins. Ashley is going to be handling the day-to-day operations, and she's going to give you an update on where we are with the project, our next steps. And as I introduced Ted a few minutes ago, Ted will be our, I guess a technical term will be director of our cannabis research. He'll be kind of coordinating all of those efforts. So any questions y'all have as we move forward with this, please don't hesitate to call us.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. No,
oh, okay, either one. We can jump in. So I'm Ashley Mullins. As Ham said, I'm the coordinator of the overall program. We work closely together, so we laugh that three of us together make a complete thought. So we'll hopefully answer any questions you have. So, currently, we are working closely with our regulatory agency, Louisiana Department of Ag and Forestry. We have to seek and receive certain approvals from them before we can begin cultivation and production of therapeutic cannabis at the production facility. Our partner, GB Sciences Louisiana, is currently renovating the production facility that you saw on the video. It's a 36,000 square foot warehouse in Baton Rouge, and it is going to house their production operation, but also our 5,000 square foot state-of-the-art research facility there, where we will conduct all of the Ag Center research on cannabis. Construction is about halfway complete, and we are estimating that it will be done in September of this year. With LDAF's approval, we are trying to begin production on a small scale so we can have products available to patients across the state as soon as possible. We are aiming for the first products to be available as soon as October, and then we will have full-scale production and products available by January of 2019. We are working very closely with the Louisiana Board of Pharmacy and the Louisiana State Board of Medical Examiners, especially due to the expanded medical conditions. We want to be sure that we have formulations available for each of the patients and meet their dosages and the needs that they have with these debilitating medical conditions. So we will have something that physicians will recommend and the pharmacies will be able to provide to those licensed physicians. So if you have any questions, again, one of us will jump in and answer to the best of our ability. Thank you.
Mr. Williams.
Quick question. I remember Bill saying at the very beginning of this 2 years ago that such an important part of this was going to be the research opportunities that presented themselves. And I see that we're already starting research even without the facility being online. Once GB Sciences brings the facility online, that would seem to present additional either research opportunities or capacity, or whatever the case may be. Do we have all of that tied up? In other words, do we have an agreement or whatever the procedure is going to be between us, the Ag Center, and GB Sciences to make sure that whatever research happens between us is that all ironed out and ready to go so that when things open in September, that's not going to be an issue?
Yes, we are, and we are finalizing that right now.
So we do have that done?
We do have an agreement for the current research project that is going on, and then we are working on a master research agreement with our intellectual property attorney and also with GB Sciences attorney. So,
who's the intellectual property lawyer?
Wade Bumgardner.
And what's the timetable for completing the master research agreement?
We're meeting on Friday.
Is that but do you have a goal for completion? In other words, do you say, okay, we're going to have that agreement done by?
I would say 30 days.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody? There also are naming opportunities on the research center. Bill's working with Willie Nelson.
Probably also going to have some different strains of marijuana. People can have their name put on if they like. One quick story. I went out to visit the facility, and we have GB Sciences has a German scientist there that's English is a little bit shaky, but he likes to talk a lot, so he was showing me everything. Well, there's 4 little plants sitting over here by themselves, and he said they weren't doing very well and had to be destroyed. And I said, well, can I take that one home? And all of a sudden, he lost his ability to think and talk. He said, I don't know if I should tell him no, but I can't tell him yes. And so, anyway, I didn't get to take it home. It's been destroyed. But we're pleased what these folks are doing, and I think you're going to be proud of the facility we have. They've been working on the research thing for quite some time. It's just getting finalized now with the attorneys. So, and you know when
Are
attorneys
those three the potheads?
They destroyed by burning it?
Yes.
Goes up.
You're having a good palliative effect on your
And I'm
not even going to touch
and
that. I'm just going to stay quiet.
And I'm not saying anything else about that.
All right, thank you.
And finally, I'd just like to, just like our enrollment is reaching all-time highs, our fundraising, our capital campaign continues to move forward. We've raised about $700 million. We'll be doing a public announcement, a large public event and announcement next spring, kicking off the public phase of this. We should have about 50% of our $1.5 billion campaign underway and moving forward. And this year, for example, is our second best year in our history. We're main campus will raise over $100 million. Between all the campuses, about $175 million this year. So fundraising and enrollment, we're on a roll, and we have a stable budget. We're in for a very good fall as we go forward. And with those who didn't get a chance to go see the Nicholson project yesterday, the apartments over off Nicholson, I encourage you to give us a holler, and we'll take you over there. They're phenomenal. Unlike any dorm or residence hall you've ever seen, they are first class and will change the dynamics of student living. 1,600 new apartments for our students. It gives us an opportunity to bring back 350 of our athletes who will all live there. And upperclassmen will now be able to find the places they want on campus as well as the one on the north end, the large facility on the north end, is for graduate students. It's a lot better than old married housing. A lot better, and I can. Oh my God. But when you see it, you'll fully understand. Those that went can share their thoughts with some of the members who haven't had a chance to see it. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman. That ends my report.
Thank you very much, King. Tammy, I got to apologize because we inadvertently skipped over you after John's report. Please come give us the staff advisors report.
Absolutely.
Thank
Good
you
afternoon,
very much.
President Alexander and Board of Supervisors members, and welcome to our new members. My name is Tammy Milliken. I'm serving as Staff Senate President. I am an Executive Director with Facility and Property Oversight, and I've been with the university for 20 years. Normally, we update you on Staff Senate activities or staff accomplishments, but since many of you are new, I just wanted to quickly give you an overview of our mission, and I'll weave in some of the things that we're working on or we'll be working on this year. We do serve as a bridge between administration and staff, and our mission is advocacy, awareness, and appreciation for staff. And we also look for ways to enhance the staff experience so that we can retain these very valuable staff members. To that end, we recently partnered with Faculty Senate on 2 resolutions, one to establish a lactation policy and lactation rooms on campus for nursing mothers, and one to address maternity and paternity leave for staff and faculty after the birth or adoption of a child, because it is very difficult to accumulate enough leave at the beginning of a career at LSU to take an adequate amount of time to care for a newly born or adopted child. These are benefits that are already offered on many college campuses, so it's imperative that LSU establish them here so that we can attract and retain the very best faculty and staff. I cannot tell you how excited we are to develop such a positive working relationship with Faculty Senate President Ken McMillan. Although there are issues that sometimes only affect faculty, he has been willing to work with those that do have something to do for both groups and to find ways to improve university operations. We did pass a resolution at our June meeting to establish an official protocol to address the death of a staff member, both operationally but more importantly to honor the service to the university and to address the needs of grieving family members and coworkers, as there is no policy in place. We're also working with the Provost's office to find ways to establish LSU as one of the best workplaces in Louisiana, because we do want to attract and retain the very best staff to this campus. In addition to working on benefits and policies for staff members, we also fundraise for 2 scholarships that we award to staff members or to the dependents of staff members to help them defer some of the costs of fees to attend the university to get a good degree. And so we also hold annual reception to welcome new employees to the university. We hold events such as Holiday on Campus, which is a celebration for the children of faculty, staff, and student members. Everything's free. It's part of Holiday Spectacular. And because it has been very difficult for the university to do a lot toward staff appreciation due to the funding challenges, we've tried to step into that gap. And so we do a staff appreciation week and really appreciate the fact that student government partnered with us last year to make this a week-long celebration. And that week culminates in Staff Appreciation Night at Alex Box, where every staff member that attends receives a t-shirt, jambalaya that's cooked and served by Campus Federal Credit Union, and cake, and have the opportunity to cheer on our Tigers. It's really a way to thank them for their hard work and remind them of the value to the university. And finally, what I believe is one of the most important contributions outside of performing our jobs in an exemplary manner is that our LSU staff volunteer. We have a large group that volunteer each year at Move-In Day to help students move in what seems to be the entire contents of their parents' home into late August, and to also reassure moms and dads that we're going to take very good care of their children. We are also there for commencement, handing out water, giving directions, providing transportation, taking pictures, anything to make this day even more special for our graduates and their guests. We volunteer at Fall Fest, Spring Greening Day, Ag Magic, or anywhere else the university needs us. So those are just a few of the things that Staff Senate's working on that time will permit for me to share with you. But we plan on it being a very productive year, and I look forward to seeing some of you at our events and to also update you on what we're working on in future meetings. Thank you.
Amy, thank you very much. We appreciate it. King, are you you're fully completed, right, on your report? So for all the new board members, this is the moment at which we've tried to shorten our 18-hour board meetings into a little bit more manageable. We'll invoke that, what we call the Anderson rule, and that means that we will entertain an in globo motion to adopt all accepted motions, resolutions, all passed by the committee work of this morning. Mr. Anderson moves that we adopt all actions adopted this morning and all resolutions adopted. Mr. Blossman seconds.
Second.
Mr. Blossman seconds. Is there any objection to the adoption of the actions of all of the committees this morning? Hearing none, that motion stands adopted. Now we have something new called the Chairman's Report. Chairman's report is a new item on the agenda, which I know excites an awful lot of you. Stacy and I prepared an hour-and-a-half presentation on driving new students into humanities and social sciences. But in the interest of time, we're going to waive it today and tell you all that the next regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Supervisors is September 7th. Although we may be having another meeting before, we'll see. You know, there are always opportunities for special meetings depending on the exigencies of the day. But
I'd also like to welcome our new provost, who's representing Chancellor Wong from LSUA. He joined us from, it was Indiana at Calumet, or Purdue at Calumet?
No, I'm a graduate of LSU.
Oh, okay, that's where it is. Okay, well, welcome. Thank you for sitting in today.
Thank you very much for being here. I'm sure this was quite a shock to the system. Anyway, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Moore moves we adjourn. Mr. Damp seconds. The board stands adjourned until the next regularly scheduled meeting on September 7th.
Robert? They're not all like not all like, ain't none of them like, ooh.